And you really do just need to sit back and listen.
Catty Kay chats with prominent names from the worlds of business, science and culture.
Influential with me, Catty Kay. Watch on BBC iPlayer.
Private emails, if you've been using them?
I think if you understand statutory public inquiries, you would know that even if I wasn't prepared to give that assurance, which for the avoidance of doubt I am, then I wouldn't have the ability. This will be a judge-led statutory public inquiry.
However, now she says she noted key points from her WhatsApps and then deleted them.
I was very thorough, and not just in the pandemic, but in all my work in government, to ensure that things were appropriately recorded, but in line with the advice I'd always been given since my first day in government probably was not to retain conversations like that on a phone that could be lost or stolen and therefore not secure.
But did you delete them?
Yes.
but others have provided WhatsApps. The inquiry was shown messages from October 2020 in which Ms Sturgeon told her Chief of Staff, "I'm having a bit of a crisis of decision-making in hospitality, not helped by fact I haven't slept." After discussing the possible restrictions on pubs and restaurants in detail, Ms Sturgeon concludes, "It's all so random, but I think we need to be prepared for a bit of a backlash." But critics, including some of those bereaved in the pandemic, want to know what was in the WhatsApps which we haven't seen. So this was Nicola Sturgeon, as we have rarely seen her before, recalling her experience during the pandemic. Seems to have been raw, emotional, even arguably traumatic for her today. We heard of her regrets, she said, that she could perhaps have locked down this country earlier. Regrets too, she said, about the number of people who had died, particularly the deaths in care homes here in Scotland. But there's no getting away for the former First Minister from some very difficult questions, and particularly about the deletion of what does amount to potential evidence. We won't know, presumably, whether it was evidence or not, but her critics want to know what, if anything, she was trying to hide.
James, thank you. The government has published details of its deal with the Democratic Unionist Party to bring back power sharing to Northern Ireland. It will mean no routine checks on goods crossing from Great Britain and staying in Northern Ireland. The DUP has boycotted Stormont for almost 2 years in protest at trade arrangements after the UK left the EU, leaving Northern Ireland without a government. Our political editor Chris Mason is in Westminster for us. Chris.
Sophie, this all boils down to the complexities of Northern Ireland politics colliding with the complexities of Brexit. The peace process means there's a long-standing desire for an open border between Northern Ireland in the UK and the Republic of Ireland in the EU. But Brexit is all about different rules, about borders. And so there's been a long-running row trying to square that circle.
4 years ago today, the UK left the European Union, Brexit happened. You're looking right now at one of the flashpoints ever since. The Brexit deal led to complications for trade within the UK between Northern Ireland and England, Scotland and Wales. In the last half hour, the DUP leader and the Northern Ireland Secretary have been giving the new plan the big sell.
The government is committed to delivering this deal swiftly so that we can build a brighter future for Northern Ireland within the United Kingdom. It's now time for elected representatives in Northern Ireland to come together.
This agreement is something we have worked hard to deliver for the people of Northern Ireland. This is our achievement after 2 years of hard work and negotiation.
So what is in this new plan for bringing power sharing back to Stormont? Safeguarding the union is an 80-page deluge of attempted reassurance for those who worry that Brexit has diluted Northern Ireland's place in the UK. Making trade easier is the core promise. There'll be no routine checks on goods crossing from Great Britain to Northern Ireland, and a guarantee Northern Ireland goods can be sold in Great Britain in all circumstances. A so-called East-West Council will be set up to try to bind Northern Ireland into UK-wide trade and cooperation. And UK law will be tweaked to emphasise that changes to EU law that impact Northern Ireland can be scrutinised and voted on by Stormont. Earlier, MPs debated the plan, and look at this. Labour has worked with the government on it and is full of praise for ministers.
I would like to thank the Secretary of State for his tireless efforts that have brought us to this point. His is a great achievement.
But not all Democratic Unionists are happy.
In Northern Ireland, there are still EU-manned border posts being built, which will create a border within our own country. This is a result of this spineless, weak-kneed, Brexit-betraying government refusing to take on the EU and its interference in Northern Ireland.
And some Conservative MPs.
BBC News. Apologies for the technical issues. Thanks for staying with us. And without further ado, let's turn to the US, where some of the most powerful people in the world of tech are being grilled by Congress about children.